Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Create a Powerful Mindset Masterclass. I'm super excited to be here with you all today, sharing what is, to me, one of the most important things to understand, and is how our brain actually works and how we can take control of our minds. So, meeting people here just quickly. So I'll just, if I stop for a second, you guys know it's because I'm not meeting people still. But anyway, I'm super excited to be here with you all today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them as we go, and then I will have a look at the end and then I'll start answering any questions. And if we go a little bit over time, I'm happy to stay a little bit longer for a couple of minutes more to answer more questions if you guys have some questions. So before I get started, I'll just briefly share with you who I am and how I got to be so passionate about working with this. For those of you that don't know much about me, my name is Alba Gomez. I'm a personal brand and presence expert and coach, and I have been long fascinated by understanding how we think, why we act the way we do, and how can we improve our behaviors and the way we take control of our mind, as opposed to running on autopilot and just letting our thoughts and patterns just run the show continuously. So what I would like to do now is start sharing my screen. Can you guys see that? Perfect, awesome. So let me just move this to the side. Excellent, and I'll just keep this here on the side. Awesome. So as I said, this is all about understanding how you can create a powerful mindset by understanding how your actual brain works and how you can take control of how that fascinating machine that we have in our heads work, so we can just make changes, we can align our behaviors to the directions we want to go, and we can start becoming more proactive in taking control of our minds. So as I was saying before, I've been long fascinated by understanding how the brain works, and it started when I was very, very little, at a very early age, when I just my set point and my mindset is quite a negative one. So growing up, I always saw, even sometimes at times now, I struggle with it. I always saw the glass empty when it was half full. I had a very, very big tendency to be depressed, to be sad, to be upset. So it was really, really hard for me to just get to a place in which I could control my brain to be positive. So that's why, since I was super, super young, I decided to actually change. I'm going to change this here. Decided to change how I did things, and I started studying different topics, philosophers, spiritual guides, neuroscience. I've been always fascinated with the science behind everything. So that's how I go into it, and I've been studying for probably 20 years now, but I would say it's most during the last 10 years that I became a little bit more, let's say, not an expert. I will never be an expert because I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I have studied with a lot of people who have taught me so much about how this works. And what I'm going to be sharing with you today is my own interpretation and my own techniques that have been modifications of different techniques that I have learned, and I have kind of created something that I brought from all of those techniques and created my only one that I've been sharing with clients for the last probably 8 years. And I have got a lot of results with that, and my clients have got a lot of results with that. So that's what I'm so excited to be sharing with all of you this today, as I said, because I've never shared this before, but I always start the process of working with my clients one-on-one with taking control of the mind. For me, I am absolutely 100% believer that in our lives, all the outcomes we get are 80% the result of our mindset. And the tools and the specific things that we actually go and do just give us the 20% of those results. So one step back before that, I also believe that so many of us are not 100% clear on the direction we are going. We know we want more of things, more financial abundance, more clients, more success, more trips, more family time, more joy, more fun. Like, we want more, but not many of us have an absolute 100% clarity of what is it that we want. And the other aspect in regards to that is we sometimes do know what we want, but we don't realize that our set of beliefs are not in alignment with the desires we have. What I mean is, let's say you look at a GPS and you know what point B is, and you know you are in point A. When your GPS know what point A is and point B is, the GPS can give you a specific route that you need to take. Sometimes we don't have 100% clarity on point B, and sometimes we do not understand where we are at the moment. So that's why I think that before I get into how the brain works and everything works, I want to just share that with you to make sure that you have 100% clarity of what your point A is, what your point B is, what is the outcome specific that you desire, and making sure that that end goal or that point that you want to direct to yourself to is 100% in alignment with your heart. Because I guess some of you might agree with the fact that how many times we go for a goal and we go work so hard towards that. When we achieve it, we feel kind of like blah. We just feel like, yeah, that was okay. Or sometimes we achieve it and we realize we didn't even do it for ourselves. We actually just achieved that we were on autopilot when we made the decision. We did it for our family, we did it for our friends, or we did it for our society. So I want you to really reassess that your point B, the goal, the aim, where you're going is 100% clear, but it's 100% in alignment with the true desires of your heart. And this only comes clear through you having a high level of self-awareness of where you're going. Because there's nothing worse than putting a lot of effort, time, and all the energy that it takes to achieve something, to realize that what you actually were going for was like a should, as opposed to 100% clarity, desire that is going to fulfill your heart. Then the second super important part that it just allows us to get into a little bit into the moment now in the brain is, what are your limiting beliefs? Because if you want to go there, but your brain doesn't believe you can accomplish it, or if your mindset is not in full alignment with where you want to go, your mind is going to be pushing you to the left when your aim is to the front. So when you are like this, that's why we don't create change in our lives. That's why we don't move easily and smoothly towards the achievement of our goals, because we are forgetting that the outcome of achieving our goal, our point B, is going to come 80% from the alignment of the mindset with that goal. And you guys, please, if you can share with me on the chat if this is making sense, if you have any questions up to this before I get into how are we going to get to do this. That will be great. I'm wondering where is my chat though. I don't know if I can see it. I'm going to second. Chat box. Is this making sense, guys? Excellent. Sorry, I had hidden all your faces to see my presentation. That's what I could see. Good. So now, as I said, step number one is that you have 100% clarity where you're going, and that is in alignment with who you are and what you desire. Point two is that, excellent. Point two is that you're going to make sure that where you are today, that's okay, Fran, that where you are today is in alignment to where you want to go. This is when I talk about a powerful mindset. If your mindset is not in full alignment with where you want to go, you won't get there. So this is, for example, the most familiar example for all of us is when we decide that we're going to get healthier, whatever that means. Better food, better exercise, better practices, walking more, whatever that is. And we wake up in the morning and we're like, I can't be bothered doing this, or I can't be bothered doing the things that I was thinking I desire. So maybe the goal was not a strong desire, it was a should as opposed to a must. Or maybe I have not made sure that any limiting belief in regards to me believing that I can exercise haven't been taken care of. So as I said, that is the most simple exercise, but this applies to absolutely anything and everything you want to achieve as a next level in your life. So we think going from inertia into full momentum can happen overnight. And it doesn't work like that. And I'm going to explain now why at a brain level, as a neuro level, that doesn't happen. So let me get back to my screen here. So let's understand a little bit. And as I said, this is not rocket science, and most of you have heard this before, but just to remind you, we know our brain is an incredible machine that works and that we are supposed to not have even touch the tip of the iceberg as to how powerful it is. So I want you now to take you a little bit into understanding that we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And I think we all know that. I'll get a little bit more on details with that in a second. So on our conscious mind, the one that we kind of operate from most of the time, is where we hold our willpower, our short-term memory, and our logical and critical thinking. So that is our conscious mind. Day in, day out, we use it. Now, our subconscious mind, that untapped part of the brain, is where we keep our beliefs, emotions, habits, values, protective behaviors, long-term memory, imagination, and intuition. So in order for us to be able to create change in an easier way, to change habits to something that is more in alignment to our end goal, we need to tap more our subconscious mind. We need to not, from a willpower point of view, make a decision that I'm going to be healthier or eat better or exercise more. No, we need to go and check on that subconscious mind. What are the beliefs and emotions that are stored throughout my whole life that in my personal case are, I'm not good at exercising, I'm not fit enough, I don't like exercising, all in my subconscious. I literally take in my mind that way, but with my willpower, I'm trying to get myself to eat healthier and exercise. Not happening. And on top of everything, my willpower is weak because the exercise has always been for me a should. I should exercise, It's never been a must. The only times in my life that I have got to be better at exercising, and as I said, I'm using the exercise as an example, is when I have felt it's a must for my health. That is really something that I am starting to notice that makes a big difference to my energy, to my state of my mind, to my health, mental health. And I have worked a lot on my subconscious beliefs. Instead of believing that I'm bad at exercising, and instead of reinforcing the beliefs that is, I don't like gyms, I have been working with my set of beliefs to just start moving this a little bit on this angle. And when my beliefs start moving more in alignment with my goal, then I start making progress. So now, let's get, and if anybody has a question, let me know. All good, Jonathan. Okay, now, who here knows what the paradigm is? Just to sense what is the level of understanding of what a paradigm is. If you guys could put on the chat, yes, no, so I know how much in depth or how much is the understanding of what your paradigm is. Yes, sort of, yes. Yeah, I'll explain anyway, but I just wanted to get like a little bit of an understanding. Perfect, so I'll do the most basic one. Pretty much the short explanation, paradigms is the set of beliefs that you hold in your subconscious mind. So let me explain this the easiest way. This is not my model. This is a model that is explained by Bob Proctor, but I find it really simple, so I'll share his approach. This circle that you see on the screen is the brain. Let's imagine it's the brain. That bottom line that is in the blue line is the subconscious mind, that bottom part of the circle. And that top part is our conscious mind. The red dotted line means that when we are born as babies, we don't have a conscious mind formed yet, meaning we are born with a brain that is like a sponge, that is 100% subconscious mind. Every single behavior, belief, and anything that anybody who lives with us do enters the subconscious mind with no filter. And that's what I shared the other day in one of the posts. I don't know if you guys said it, like, why do we speak the language we speak? Because the people around us spoke the language. Our subconscious mind absorbed that information and made it part of who we are. We absorb like sponges. We all have heard this. And at the age of 7, we are like sponges taking information. So we learn mostly from our parents or whoever was around you, cousin, uncles, whoever was really close in your circle until the age of 7. We learn all they believe about life. And our paradigm is that set of beliefs we learn. And it's full of positive behaviors and beliefs and a lot of rubbish. All the limiting beliefs of our parents or the people who were around us, we absorb them with no questioning. We all have the same paradigm. I mean, we all form the paradigm in the same way, and we all have on our paradigm a lot of things that are valuable and that are in alignment with where we want to go. But we love, and I don't know if somebody's offended by rubbish, but that's the kindest way I can find to refer. We have a lot of rubbish there that doesn't allow us to move in the direction of our dreams because our paradigm says, no, that is not possible for you. So for example, let's say somebody said to me, Alba, you're going to make $1 million today. I think that thought goes straight into my subconscious mind. My paradigm says, no, you cannot make $1 million in a day. And then that thought is exits my subconscious mind immediately. So that's that light blue line. If the thought you are thinking is not in alignment with the beliefs you have on your paradigm, that thoughts get kicked out of your brain. So if I wake up today saying I'm going to exercise, I love exercising, exercise is good for me, with the example that we've been playing with, I go like, my paradigm goes and says, because my parents never exercised, I was never into the healthy fit. My parents were not like that. I never saw it. My paradigm says, exercise? Good for you? Yeah, probably you read it. Do I believe that? No, that's not my thing. Out of it completely. So I have to change my paradigm to understand and fully believe at a deeper level that exercise is good for me and that I can do it for me to be able to take action. Is this making sense? Thank you, Oli. Anybody else making sense of what I'm saying? So the bad news is the paradigm is already set. We all have a paradigm that was set until under the age of 7. By the time we turn 7, this dotted line of the conscious minds start getting formed. And then now we start making more conscious decisions about things that now we're like, yes, no, we can't say yes, no. Whereas when we were under the age of 7, everything entered with no filter. So when we align our paradigm with where we want to go, we can take action, we can make changes. The bad news, the paradigm is already formed. The good news is it can be reprogrammed. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today with my simple tip that I promised to share. So what I want you to understand on top of what I said is you need to make sure that your experience of life, you need to understand that your experience of life today, all the good and all the bad and everything in between is an absolute 100% reflection of what you hold on your paradigm. Whatever challenge you have with time, with relationships, with money, with not advancing in your career, with whatever it is because on your paradigm, you have those subconscious beliefs. They won't be changed, external change, until you go and understand what are the beliefs that are stopping you from creating something different. And that's what I said, we need to realign the paradigm to create an external result on our lives. Because we as human beings, we act based on the information we have on our paradigm, 100% fully. So whatever is the area of life you're applying this, if it's health, if it's relationships, if it's work, more clients, more health, it applies to absolutely everything. What is the belief in your paradigm that is not in full alignment to what you want to achieve? So we need to reprogram it. Making sense, guys? So this is how it works. This is absolutely how it works. So remember I talk about pathways and neuro connections. So imagine this is your brain. We're going to imagine this is what happens. So this arrow at the bottom of the page is a thought. I'm going to use mine, and I'm going to use my thought of pattern way of thinking in the past. I am not good enough. I am silly. I'm not good enough. I'm not confident. I don't know who I am. Every time I thought those thoughts for the last 40 years of my life, one of the little line that is a neuropath connection just sparkled, just got strong. And when I repeated it again and repeated it again and repeated it again and repeated it again, more and more neuropaths that contain the same information started just grabbing each other together. So the pathway in my brain that used to say, I am not good enough, was massive, thick, was well-traveled. It's like when you get into the bush and you try to enter the first time, it's hard to start opening a space. But once people start walking through the path, it's easier to walk. That's what happened. A same way of thinking got strengthened and strengthened and strengthened. Is this making sense? So the part of my brain, the pathways of my brain that said, Alba, you're amazing, you're confident, you are enough, tumbleweed, nothing. The right side of this graphic, nothing. I didn't believe I was good enough. I didn't believe it. So that way of thinking for me was hard to follow. So every time as I identified that thinking that I wasn't good enough was my limiting belief, I started working and strengthening it. So I went into thinking, okay, I'm enough. So that arrow up is a thought, a pattern of thought coming. It goes into my brain and I say, I am amazing. No other neuropaths to connect to. It's an empty space. So my way of thinking goes back and goes to the more traveled road. I am not good enough. That is why it's so difficult to change when we don't understand how our brain works, because we expect to make changes on the spot, but we don't understand that we need to reprogram. We need to control, alt, delete pretty much how our brains are thinking and reset it. So I'm going to share the technique that will take me a couple of minutes of how it works to how to actually do it. But I'm going to come back here because I actually cannot see you guys when I'm doing the screen. So I'm going to come back here to the screens and I want to see your faces, if I can see you. Is this making sense? Do you have any questions? Yes. Do you have any questions up to now? No? All good? All clear? Excellent. So I'm going to go back to the sharing the screen. So now, how do we do it? How do we actually start strengthening the positive pathway and start weakening the negative way of behaving and actually of thinking? But we all know that a thought creates a behavior. So how do we do that? That's my number one favorite tool. It's called Stop, Cancel, Delete. It's simple. It's so simple that you find it silly. Do not underestimate the power of simple little changes. So this is how it works. Every time, let's say you're going to pick a topic in your life at the moment. What is it that is debilitating you more to say something? Is it your lack of determination to exercise? Is it your lack of confidence? Is it your lack of money? Is it your lack of clarity? Pick one. And then you will identify that you have a pattern of thought around that is negative, that is not serving you, that is not in alignment with where you want to go next. So every time you identify any thought around that topic, just pick one, because otherwise you're going to be overwhelmed. Every time you go, oh, I'm so stupid, stop, cancel, delete. And you say in your mind, stop, cancel, delete, and you attach to that a physical element. So it can be a snap of a finger. You can put a lucky band and click it, which is one of my favorite. You can pull your ear. You can pull a finger. You can, do something physical without hurting yourself too much. But on the same moment that you identify it, you say stop, cancel, delete, and you create the physical impulse that makes your brain kind of stop and pay attention. If you stop there, the thought will go and meet with the negative friends and will stop. But if you stop there, the thought will go again. In order to make change, we need to replace it with a more positive statement. That is the only way, because the brain is always thinking. You cannot stop thinking. As soon as you say stop thinking, you start thinking. So as soon as you say stop, cancel, delete, you do the physical impulse. I like the lucky band. I go and say something positive. It can be as strong as I'm amazing, or anything in between that says I am doing my best, or I can do this. I am choosing to realize or to understand that I am good enough, or that wasn't stupid. No, don't use the don't. A positive statement. So let's say what I would say. If I was saying to myself, I was so stupid, why did I say that? I would go stop, cancel, delete. And then immediately I would say, no, that wasn't. I'm just doing my best here, and I just breathe and change it to a more positive state. And that is all it takes. Tell me if this is making sense. It sounds simple. Yes. It's effective 100%. The amount of changes I have accomplished in my life, in ways of thinking, you wouldn't believe it. We don't have the time to share here today what I have achieved, and the amount of changes I have help my clients achieve using this technique. So as I said, the reason this happens is because we are attacking, we're going under the subconscious mind, we are unprogramming. So what happens when you start using this technique is you start weakening the left side, the negative pathways, and you start strengthening the positive pathways that say, I am good enough. The more you practice it, the more effective it is. So we have a comment here. I've gone to the cancel for a while, but I haven't used a physical interrupter. And you reminded me, yes, excellent, Oli. That's exactly, you need to reframe it. You can reframe out loud or in your mind, because sometimes you're going to be with people. It's got one step more. Step number one is identify the thought and stop, cancel, delete it. Step number two, impulse, physical impulse. Step number three, reframe out loud or inside. And step number four, and I find that important too, is I would like you to also move physically. So let's say if you're here and you catch yourself saying blah, 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 say stop, cancel, delete. move yourself to a different, if you can step back or step forward, that will be even better. But if you are in public and you can just move from this side to this side, that's good enough. So stop, cancel, delete, physical impulse, reframe, and change position as you reframe. And that is going to make it even more powerful. What we're trying to do here is to interrupt a pattern of thinking and behavior. So the brain needs extra stimulus than just noticing it. You need to do the physical kind of contact, some physical element to it. And then if you can move into a different position, even better. It is the most simple thing that I could actually share. So powerful, so difficult to remember. All you will need is massive amounts of determination to remember to do it. Most simple technique that I have ever used in my entire life. Yeah, people will start thinking that you're crazy. But yeah, you can do it out loud, but if you're alone, as I said, no, doesn't get any more simple. So if the physical impulse is not your drive, I have also got some other ideas. You can start putting $2 in a jar. You can start deciding to donate $10 every time you had the repeated behavior. You can do something that shocks your system. The first thing, and then a few words to finish this, to realize is you're going to be shocked by the amount of negative thoughts we have around a topic a day. So first, do not be defeated by realizing that happens to all of us. Sometimes it's like, wow, what am I thinking? So that's the first thing. And that gets you a little bit depleted, but don't get upset with that. Notice your thoughts, be compassionate. And if one day you're really good at it and the next day you forget, that's fine too. Just be compassionate with yourself and start the next day as if it was the first day. I can guarantee that if you stick to this technique for 2 weeks, the way you're feeling about that topic is going to completely transform and change. Exactly. And stop being unconscious, because remember, our thoughts, I don't remember the percentage, it's ridiculous. Is it 80 or 90% of our thoughts are recycled from the day before? So we are really running in autopilot, 90%, thank you. We're running in autopilot. It's ridiculous. But when we start taking control of our thoughts and we start making them conscious and we start saying like, hey, stop, your brain starts realizing that you pretty much, because that's the thing, we give it life to our brain and we forget that we are the ones in control, and we have let the brain run in autopilot for such a long time that we forget that we have the ability to control it. So remember again, I'm going to share one more time here. Going from this, where the negative behavior is 100%, to going to this is going to take determination. It's going to take your commitment. It's going to take you just having a couple of times where you step back, but that is fine. You start again. Every single day is a new day when you reframe yourself. And the other way, this is all neuroscience that I'm explaining here, but the other way I see it, and then this is go a little bit more into spirituality and the law of attraction and all that stuff that everybody speak about, the same thing. Is pretty much you choose how you feel in the moment. Every time you notice yourself going a negative path, you choose to be grateful. Or every time you see yourself going to a negative path with something, you remember where is it that you're going. So it's exactly the same thing. Scientists, spiritual people, they all speak about the same thing. It's just how we go from the negative to the positive, but how we choose to take control on the moment to make the decision every single time we have a negative path. My pleasure, Adriana. So guys, that is all from me. On the dot, 30 minutes. Do let me know if you have any questions, any comments. You will be receiving the replay anyway. And I'm here if you have any questions, but I have like another 5 minutes. If anybody wants to say something or ask me a question.
Yeah, question.
Yes.
If you don't use stop, cancel, delete, and thank you very much, by the way. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing your time.
Of course, my pleasure.
If you don't use stop, cancel, delete, do you find that it affects the result?
As in, if you just reframe?
Yeah.
I have noticed that it gives a more. It's kind of like you're trying to go from 100 to 0 in a car. As opposed to going from when you start braking slowly, and the stop, cancel, delete allows you to go to 70 to 60 to 50.
Gotcha.
That's what I find.
Sense.
It's a little bit harder to go like zoom, as opposed to kind of stop, cancel, delete. It starts slowing down, and then it starts slowly moving towards the positive side. So I have noticed that it definitely, exactly, same for kids, Lisette. This applies to all of us. And I invite you, all of you who have kids, to share this technique with them now, because for us, it takes a lot of time to learn it, but for kids, they get it like this. So yes, Oli, it definitely helps more to, instead of going like, it's kind of like a slow transition from negative to positive. And you can actually change. There's not, stop, cancel, delete is made up. You can say something else. I just like the fact that, like on a brain, we stop, cancel, delete. It's like we really stop it, we delete it, we cancel it, and then we delete it. But you can use stop if it makes it easy for you, or snap, or you can use a word that works best for you. Good. Any other questions, comments? Yes, definitely. With the kids things, guys, all of my clients get so excited because I have so many tools like these ones. And for us as adults who are in a pattern of behavior for so many years in our lives, it's hard to make these changes. But kids, it's brilliant seeing them learning, implementing in a week, they got it. So do share with, the younger we learn this, the better. The easier it is for us to establish those new neuropaths and those new learnings. And I think the big thing out of all of this is the reminder that we forget that we are in control of our brains, not the way around. And then to go a little bit more spiritual and deep with that, to remember that we are not victim of our circumstances, that we just control our results by the way we think. So it's all about reprogram your brain, create a different life. So if you guys don't have any more questions, we leave it there. Feel free to email me later. I will be sending the recording of this call anyway for those of you who didn't show up, or for those of you who want to listen to it again. Have a fantastic morning or evening or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you on the next masterclass. See you guys. See ya.